All right, if you're thinking about buying an e-bike, or maybe you already have, this video is for you. I'm going to talk to you about all the advantages and disadvantages that the e-bike gives the prospector, the treasure hunter, metal detectorist, meteorite hunter, or just outdoor enthusiast. These bikes are game changers to get us to places we never used to be able to get to before. We're going to take you to the store and talk to an actual bike shop, get their advice on what you need to keep in mind before you buy your bike, and then we'll take you out on the trail and talk to some horseback riders, other bicyclists, joggers, hikers, and just get some of the rules of the road, things you need to know before you go out on your e-bike. It's all here in this video. Here we go. All right, so when you're out there on the hunt for lost treasure, gold, or even a fallen meteorite, these journeys can take you deep into rugged terrain, and if you've ever had to hoof it on foot with all that gear on your back, you know how quickly your energy drains. And what about the hike out? But what if there was a smarter way to get to all those remote spots without burning all of your energy up just getting there? That's where the e-bike comes in. And don't forget, it can carry all your gear, including all the water you can drink. All right, let's break it down. Are e-bikes really worth it for treasure hunters, prospectors, recreational outdoor lovers? Here are some of the top pros and cons. All right, let's start with the advantages. Number one, first and foremost, is just access to hard to reach spots. You can cover miles of dirt trails fast, even with the full pack, and it saves all the energy that you need for the day. And number two, it's quiet and stealthy, good for scouting or even hunting. If you're a hunter, they're quieter than a gas-powered vehicle for sure. Number three, you can haul your gear. You know, with racks and bags, saddlebags, you can carry your metal detector, digging tools, lunch, all the water you can drink, camera gear, fishing pole, anything you want. You can haul it all on your bike. And they're very eco-friendly. Again, no fuel, no emissions. And I can even charge mine using my Jackery, where I have solar panels at my camp. So I can charge it overnight. Easy to charge these things up. And they're legal in more areas than ATVs are. So you can ride many trails where motorized vehicles just aren't allowed. There are some laws and regulations you have to keep in mind, and you need to look into those laws and regulations in your area because they're different for every state. If this video was about that, I could talk for just an hour on laws and regulations for each state, and it's just too much to bring up right now. So you should probably do your own research about that. And a couple disadvantages to talk about. Number one, first and foremost, in the disadvantages is you're limited to the range of your battery. So for example, if you're going 20 to 60 miles maximum, this depends on the terrain and the load. You got to plan smart. You need to know what your battery is capable of. After a full day of physical labor, you need that battery to get you out. And there's also the initial cost. These bikes start at around $1,500 and the price climbs quickly from there. And another thing you have to think about is they're very heavy. They're heavier than regular bikes, especially with gear. And if your battery dies, you're pedaling a tank. That thing is just heavy. And then, there's some trail restrictions too. Some parks and single track trails ban class 2 or class 3 e-bikes. So you need to know before you go. So where I live here in the United States of America, in a state called California, and here in the California Gold Country, I live in a town called the endurance capital of the world. So what better place to visit a local bike shop to get some inside information? So let's take a walk into the store here. We'll meet up with Patrick. He's the store manager, and he will give us some advice on how to choose an e-bike and lots of other things you need to know as far as transporting them, accessories you might need. Let's take a walk into the store and see what he has to say.
So when somebody comes in, we carry 3 different e-bikes here. Our first kind is going to be this Discover 2 from Velotric. It's a street cruiser bike, good for getting around town. Doesn't have really knobby tires, not really meant to go off-road. So customers that want to go down fire roads or gravel roads, something light but want to go a little bit off-road, we have the fat tire style of e-bike. This is the Nomad by Velotric. It has a 750 watt motor. This one, the bigger tires give you a little more traction. And then for customers that want to actually hit trails, go down some more hardcore stuff, we have the e-mountain bike. This has a mid-drive motor, unlike the rear hub drive motors for the other bikes. And typically with mid-drive motors, you're getting a lot more torque, which makes it a lot easier to climb up hills. You get a little better performance. They are harder to maintain and install, but you get the added performance out of it. So, and these bikes, this one's meant for more trails and actually hitting more stuff. This is going to be an introductory style of e-mountain bike. Step through bikes, they're really easy. It makes it easier to get on the bike and everything. Instead of wrapping your leg around it, you just put it right through there. It does take away not having the bar right here, a little bit of rigidity on the frame. But if you're just doing cruising around town and everything like that, you're not going to really need it. And that's why a lot of these kind of street cruiser bikes come like this. So sizing a bike's kind of just off your height, what your reach is. It's really always good to come into a shop to sit on a bike that you're looking to get, because not all brands, a small is not like the same size across all bikes. A lot of bigger folks like me are going to tend to go for something like this. This has a lot more torque. The fat tire makes it a little bit more comfortable for somebody my size. But really, any of these bikes can be fitted in size to pretty much any height or size of person. So there's typically the two motor sizes you're going to see the most of are 500 watts and 750. Right here we have a 750 watt rear hub motor. The bigger the motor, typically the more powerful and more torque you're going to get out of the bike. Sometimes you can see a front hub motor and a rear on the bikes. We don't typically sell those. They're more accident prone and just more things that can go wrong on the bike, and having the motor up front can make the bike really jerk when you take off on it. Then you have the mid-drive motors. Typically, that's where you're going to get bikes with the most torque out of it. This one has 100 newton meters of torque versus the 75 and 85 that the Nomad and Discover 2 have.
Is torque the important number for up and down hills?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's
Okay.
what's going to be the number that gets you up. So sometimes you want to make sure when you're looking at the bike, even though it says 750, not all 750 watt motors are going to be putting out the same amount of torque and power. When it comes to lifting up the bikes, as you can tell, this thing's huge. And when you add a motor and a battery to these, you're typically going to be running about 55 to 70 pounds, depending on what the bike is. And some tips for loading it in: we always suggest removing the battery, and these things are pretty huge. They usually take off at least 10 pounds when loading it, so that can make it easier. And then also you need to make sure you get an e-bike rated bike rack if you are going to be traveling with it on your car. Can't use your old one that you use for your other bikes, because this thing will snap it and you'll see it tumbling down the road. So when space is an issue, we do offer folding bikes. This is the Velotric Fold 1 by Velotric. It's super simple to get these things down and folded. First you start out with the handlebars, pop it there, pop them down there. Then with the pedals, you just do that. Same on this side. And then there. And fold it up. And there you go. These bikes are perfect for being able to put into trunk of a car, depending on the size, or the back of an SUV. And kind of, if you don't want to get a bike rack or something like that, these things are perfect. So when buying an e-bike, these things go fast, some ranging upwards of 28 miles and up. So crashing on those things is not something you want to do. And if you do that, you're going to want to be protected. So getting a helmet is imperative, and getting a good one is really important. I suggest always that your helmet at least has MIPS, and that is a lining within the helmet. It's this low friction layer that's in between the inner padding of the helmet. This little layer allows the helmet to shift in relation to your head, usually about 10 to 15 millimeters. And this greatly reduces the risk of brain injury or concussion from angled impacts and crashes. Then you can even go a step up from there. Smith, this helmet is designed with e-bike riders in mind, has the MIPS, and it also has their patented Colroyd layer, which is those welded tubes form like a honeycomb. And those, when you're hitting impacts, they crush instantly and uniformly, which diverts even more impact from your head during a crash. And this helmet's also equipped with the Alex crash sensor, which is that guy right there. This can be connected to Bluetooth, with Bluetooth to your phone, and you could actually have an emergency contact. It could be 911, or it could be your mom or your wife or somebody like that. So when you do get into a crash, it will automatically contact that emergency contact so they can come call or come and check on you. This is a Packer 1 by Velotric. This thing can be good for if you're going out prospecting or gold mining. And if it's down a light enough trail, you can attach all your mining gear, prospecting gear right there on the back. These have a maximum kind of payload of 420 pounds, so it can hold a bunch of gear.
So when I finally got my e-bike and got it out on the trail systems, I realized right away that I didn't understand trail etiquette and just the unwritten rules of the road. When you're sharing a big trail with horseback riders, other bicyclists, joggers, hikers, and even people with their dogs off leash, and you're riding around on a bike, it's kind of scary when you come up behind somebody and you don't know really how to pass them. So let's go ahead and start by talking to a couple horseback riders here. They're going to tell us some stories, things that happened to them, and talk to us about the way that the horses perceive us. Let's take a trip up there real quick and talk to them.
Horses, as a creature, have been around probably 500,000 years. They've only been domesticated, or at least in relationship to men, not even ridden, but they were using them in Egypt in chariots 5,000 years ago. But even pictures in France, Neanderthals in caves, shows Neanderthals hunting horses. So their feeling is, unless you're my friend, you're somebody who's going to eat me. And when you're they're used to bicycles. They're used to being trained with a guy with a baseball cap and a nice little slow bike riding around the barn. They're not used to something that looks like Kawasaki with red and green and a bright black helmet with pointy things on it, and goggles, and somebody coming fast at them. If they see a bike behind them on an uphill, they think that bike's going to stay way back there. But now with e-bikes, they can creep up right on the horse's butt, and the horse has nowhere to go on most switchbacks. A lot of single track trails here in California, they're dangerous for the horse if he gets excited, because when he's scared, he's going to take off. It doesn't matter if he's heading straight down a cliff to the river. He'll kill himself, he'll kill his rider. There's so much granite around, and cambers and boulders and things like that.
Now the e-bikes are really quiet, but they do make an unusual hum sound that you were talking about.
They make a hum sound like a bunch of bees coming at them. To a horse, they've never heard that sound except from a hive. So they think bees are after them.
Yeah.
And bees, in nature will attack a horse and get up their sheath, and they go on a bucking rodeo when they're being attacked by bees. But I don't want to be on them when they're going in a bucking rodeo on a path that's this wide with a downhill.
Yeah.
I've been on one before. It's not fun. And a biker needs to make sure that he makes his presence aware to the rider. As our saddles are making noises, we're talking, we're just focused on our ride. We're looking for danger when we're riding, most of us, intent riding. And so when a bike comes up, they need to say something like a bike approaching, so they know we hear them, because the horses don't even hear them until they're right on you.
They're very sensitive animals in every way. Sound, smells, everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
So-
smells especially.
So if they're surprised because they can't see something, you were telling me that their first instinct is not ever to fight, but literally to run for their life.
They are what are called prey animals. They've been used to being hunted. They're not a predator animal. And their instinct is run fast and get the hell out of there and think later. They may stop a quarter of a mile out and look back and say, I wonder what that was.
Right,
But-
and it could be a person on a bike, but to them, they don't know if it was a mountain lion or a bear or anything. They just don't know. Yeah.
All they know is the best thing to do is get the hell out of there. And they're not worried about if the rider stays on or not. They're just, at that point, their protective instinct of themselves has kicked in.
Yeah.
And it's, I'm out of here.
And me and Deborah were talking a minute ago about when you're on a trail and you come up on a horse and you're coming head to head at each other. Well, in any case that you see a horse come by, the bicyclist should stop on the more dangerous side of the hill where there's a cliff, and stop over there and let the horse pass on the inside where there's a safer berm or hill.
If they're scared, they're not going to run up the hill. If they're on the outside of the trail and it drops off and they're scared, they're going to flip off, backing up, or they're going to run and go down because the ground caved out as well. Yeah, you always want to be the horses on the hillside.
I noticed also, can you grab your helmet real quick so I can show on the helmet one of the features that causes a rider to not be able to hear us coming is just the fact that the way the helmet is on the head. And sometimes if you look at her right now, you'll see that sound coming from this direction hits this and never really makes it around to here. Not to mention the sound of just the tack and tog on the horse. Yeah, absolutely. The saddle, all of it makes noise.
Yeah.
And the horse just breathing and walking.
And we're all focused on the trail. You know,
Right.
That's where our focus is. We're focusing going forward. Horse is focusing going forward. So if something comes up from behind, it's an automatic startle sometimes because it's out of the norm of what we're at for that moment.
Right.
And the other thing is, do never wear earbuds when you're out on a multi-use trail, because it may be a dangerous trail for you also. It's narrow, there's rocks, you're up there focused down, and I'm only 10 feet in front of you and I'm yelling, horse, horse, and you don't act like you've even seen us, and maybe you haven't. And I don't need you to run into me. I got nowhere to go. If I can wave a person on, both of us will say, just slow down and come by slowly. You don't have to stop, just come by slowly and say hello, say hi. Just kind of very friendly, calm, low-key nuance. You don't have to look scared. You don't have to look like a predator. You know, you don't have to be silently stalking him like a wolf. So just come by like a human and smile, and then they'll be relaxed.
Can you also talk about how some people, when they see a horse coming, they get up out of the way off the trail and then hide behind something?
Yeah.
And what does that do for the horse?
Now, if you were a horse, wouldn't you think that's a Neanderthal with a spear?
Yeah, right.
You'd
Instincts.
And the closer you got, I might think he's okay, but in his little head, he's thinking, I'm not okay. And he gets close, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're in a 360. So when you see those horses spinning on a rodeo, that's nothing. These horses may look like they can't do that. When they're scared, they can do it, no problem.
So you prefer people on foot, whether it's hikers, walkers, joggers, or people on bikes, just stop and stay out in the open?
So see, I'm approaching you. Say, here's the trail. And you're the horse, and I see you and I don't say anything and I move over here.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, this is what not to do.
Right. Yes.
Okay, what you want to do is just, oh, hi, you're out for a ride today. Gosh, would you like me to move over on this side or that side?
Yeah.
Nice day today, hi.
And then the horse knows it's a human voice too.
Yeah.
And it's no longer a bear or anything else, it's a human.
Right.
Yeah. While filming the segments for this video, I got very lucky when I came across a couple on e-bikes. One of them actually is a horseback rider, and today I caught her on her bike. So I get to hear a little bit about both, what it's like for her to be on the bike and what she thinks about when she's on a horse. And then her partner that was with her is a longtime rider of e-bikes and also does some safety and search and rescue on the trail systems. Let's see what they have to say.
Hi, I'm Lucy Kataoka, and I ride horses on the trail as well as mountain bikes. And I'm well aware of a lot of the safety issues that are involved. And what I would recommend to anyone, whether they're riding a horse or riding a bicycle, is to always have verbal communication. If you're on a bike and you're coming up behind a horse, make sure you call out, make sure that they respond to you so they know that you're there. If you're coming from the front, same thing, call out and slow down so that there aren't any surprises, and then have a little conversation. A lot of times the horse is really, the sound of a horse, the human voice is very important. And then wait for the riders and communicate with them so that you can find a safe place, because a lot of times they'll be happy to let you pass as long as they can find a place to put their horse that's safe and the trail is wide enough. So everybody can share the trails. It's not a problem. It's just a little bit of common courtesy and safety.
Okay, I'm Dale Roberts, and I work with the Lake Tahoe Backcountry Patrol. Was a founding member of the Lake Tahoe Backcountry Patrol. Worked a lot with Nevada State Parks doing trail building. When it comes to horses, there's a lot of blind corners. A horse does not see you coming, especially you're silent, doesn't hear you. When you're coming up on a corner fast, be aware that there may be a horse, or maybe another cyclist, maybe a hiker, but always be aware when the trails are blind, shall we say, to slow down and approach your corners with caution and put a bell on your bike. You know, even though you're out there, you don't need one of those dinger ones, but when you come up, bells are universal. If you see somebody or something or whatever on the trail, give it a few rings. People generally know what that means.
Especially if you're out for a ride and you know you're going to be going up a trail that has up or down switchbacks with a lot of blind corners. I think a bell would be super important there.
Yes.
Just for your own safety on the bike as well as anybody else you encounter.
Another suggestion that I would make is leave your earbuds at home. It really impedes your ability to concentrate on the trail, both what you're doing on your bicycle and what might be around that next corner. And if you can't hear the horse rider that's calling out to you to say, because I will, as a horse rider, I will call horses when I'm coming to a blind corner. And if you're coming down the trail and I can't hear you because your bike is quiet, and you can't hear me because I just called out corner because you have your earbuds on, it's an accident waiting to happen. Please leave your earbuds at home.
Let's go ahead and talk to this hiker now. This is kind of cool to run into her because she had 2 dogs off leash. And that's another concern too when you're on your e-bike and you come up behind somebody who's walking on a trail with your dogs. Let's see what she has to say. Okay, so I noticed that your dogs are off leash right now. Do you always walk with your dogs off leash typically out here?
I do, yeah.
And then
pretty much all the time.
So you were telling me earlier that you like it when a jogger or a bicyclist comes up in front or behind you and gives you enough warning, enough time to put them on leash. Is that something you can do? Or
Yeah, totally. Like I have little quick leashes on my dogs actually, and so my dogs are usually okay with it, but if they're really amped up, it's nice to get a warning early enough so that I can pull to the side and grab their leash.
Yeah.
Just in case they are going to be reactive with something or with and there's other people out here whose dogs are reactive with people or with bikes and want to chase it or something, so it's nice to get a warning to be able to grab them.
And you said that your dogs are used to bikes because you bike with them.
Yeah.
But do they still get startled when you get surprised by a fast-moving bicyclist?
Yeah, so if we're moving the same direction going downhill and there's a bike coming behind us and we don't get a warning, they get spooked. And they're both incredibly friendly, but when they get spooked, they can react a little differently.
What kind of warning do you like?
Like a little holler when there's, I mean, even if it's like pretty close, it's fine, but a little holler the moment you kind of see somebody is sweet. A bell, anything really, like anything that I can know that someone's coming up behind me.
How close are the bicyclists when you notice them and they don't tell you that they're there?
Sometimes I'll like feel them coming
Wow.
before I even notice that there's a bike coming.
Yeah.
So they'll just be ripping down a hill and like pass me.
And you were telling me earlier also that you're a jogger, a runner,
Yeah.
and that you encounter the same phenomenon just running past people.
Yeah,
that you
totally.
startle them.
Yeah, totally. Like if I'm coming up behind people, I come out here in the summertime early morning and it's dark. And if I come up on someone, I try to make noise, or I'll call my dogs to me pretty quick, just so that I don't scare people, you know, when it's dark.
So let's just recap some of the trail etiquette real quick here. You have to keep in mind that we need to always yield to pedestrians, hikers, joggers, and horseback riders, and share the trail with them, slow down, especially on blind corners. And you should be careful also about riding on wet trails. When you pass somebody, you're going to throw water and mud on them. Just something to think about. Stay on the designated paths, or we're really going to get in trouble when we start making new paths in trail systems, especially in parks. And use a bell or a voice to alert when you're coming up from behind. I like a little Tinker bell that I have on my bike that is just constantly always just ringing a little bit. The horses hear me coming from really far away. Just from normal riding, I don't have to ring the bell because it's always kind of just moving along on the trail. and the horses hear me and they know I'm coming up from hundreds of feet behind. And lastly, just obey your local trail regulations and make sure that you don't give us all a bad name. Some of these states are just trying to figure out e-bikes. I don't know how much they're going to try to enforce the laws, but let's not push our luck. And we'll also just recap a little bit here for the fact that this video is for treasure hunters and prospectors, meteorite hunters. You know, when you're out prospecting or metal detecting, every bit of energy that you can save means even more time looking for targets. And this is where the e-bikes really shine. For gold prospecting, you can quickly scout washes and drainages for new ground. You can haul buckets of material, pans, dry washers easily on these bikes. For metal detectorists, you can cover long beach stretches, forest trails, abandoned homesteads, fast. I mean, especially useful for relic hunters. And for meteorite hunting, you can get deep into open terrain, grid large areas, carry all the water or food that you need. So is an e-bike really worth it for treasure hunting? Absolutely. If you value mobility, stealth, and the ability to get to places where few others can, they're not really a replacement for boots on the ground, but they are a game changer in getting you to a location smarter and fresher with all the energy you need for the day. So I took a big chance when I bought my bike. I bought it online, sight unseen, never even sat on it. And we bought 3 of them at once, me and 2 buddies. So far we absolutely love them, no complaints whatsoever. And since we bought them, several other friends have bought them as well. Now there's about 8 or 9 of us that have the same model, and again, no complaints from anybody. But for you, you're going to need to do the research like we did and try to find the perfect bike for you. And it doesn't hurt just to talk to people on the trails or go down to your local bicycle shop and talk to them. But again, the electric bike is an absolute game changer for this hobby. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys on the trail.